What if the secret to your next big idea isn't more stimulation, but less? In a world obsessed with constant connection, we are overlooking a powerful truth. True creativity often blossoms from the most unexpected place: boredom. Stick around to discover how intentionally embracing downtime can revolutionize your innovative thinking. There's this constant pressure to be on, isn't there? Every device is pulling for your attention: your phone, laptop, notifications, messages, all at once. It feels like the world is moving faster than you can keep up with, and even a moment of pause almost feels wrong. That pressure doesn't just drain energy, it rewires your brain to expect constant input. And if you stick around, I'll show why that little rewiring makes true focus feel almost impossible. Here's the paradox: having access to more information than ever doesn't make you smarter. It can actually hinder deeper thinking. Every ping, every update, every article you skim pulls your brain away from reflective thought. You start juggling tiny pieces of information instead of connecting the bigger ideas, and your mind gets stuck in reactive mode. That's why even with endless knowledge at your fingertips, it sometimes feels like your thinking is a little shallow. Your brain is clever though. It has built-in hacks to avoid boredom. Quick dopamine hits from notifications or small bursts of content feel rewarding, so you keep chasing them. The problem? Those hacks keep your nervous system on high alert, constantly distracted, and gradually reduce your tolerance for slower, more meaningful thinking. It's subtle, almost invisible, but over time, it shapes the way you pay attention. This overload doesn't just affect work or creativity. It creeps into every part of your day. Meals, conversations, even walking to the mailbox can feel incomplete if your mind is still half attached to the next ping. That low-level tension becomes the background noise of your life, and most people don't even notice it until they step back. When you do notice it, it can be uncomfortable, almost like your brain is betraying you. And here's the kicker: once your nervous system gets used to this level of stimulation, disengaging feels almost impossible. Even moments of calm feel boring or unsettling, so you reach for the next hit without thinking. That's why taking a break from screens can feel like a radical act, because your brain has learned to constantly expect input. But understanding this pattern is the first step, and later we'll explore how to use it to your advantage. Boredom isn't just having nothing to do. It's a distinct mental state, one that your brain actually craves in small doses, even if it doesn't always admit it. When your mind is free from constant input, it starts scanning for patterns, making connections, and noticing things it usually ignores. That quiet space can feel uncomfortable at first, almost like your brain is complaining, but it's actually the very thing that sparks creativity and insight. There's science behind this too. Studies show that moments of quiet disengagement can lead to idea generation and problem solving. When your attention isn't being pulled in a million directions, your brain has the bandwidth to explore new concepts and make unexpected connections. That's why some of the greatest insights often come during mundane tasks, long walks, or idle moments. Your mind is quietly connecting the dots behind the scenes. The tricky part is that boredom feels uncomfortable at first. It might trigger restlessness, slight anxiety, or the urge to reach for your phone. Your brain doesn't like emptiness because it's so used to constant stimulation. But if you push past that initial discomfort, you enter a phase where your mind starts to do its best work. The shift isn't immediate, but once it happens, it's like unlocking a hidden layer of focus and creativity. Think of it this way: boredom is like a mental playground. The longer you resist checking for distractions, the more space your brain has to explore ideas, rehearse solutions, and notice patterns. That's why moments of quiet can feel deceptively simple, yet they're often the incubator for real insight. And this is something most people completely overlook because it feels, well, boring. So the paradox is this: what feels uncomfortable and unproductive, the stillness, the pause, the boredom, is actually fertile ground for growth. Once you start seeing it that way, you can approach it differently, almost like a tool instead of a punishment. Later, we'll look at concrete ways to invite this mental state into your daily routine without it feeling like torture. And that's where the real magic begins. The key to benefiting from boredom is to invite it intentionally. That might sound counterintuitive at first. Deliberately doing nothing or stepping away from the screen feels unnatural, but small, deliberate steps can make a huge difference. Things like going for a walk, setting up a device-free zone in your home, or even just sitting quietly for a few minutes gives your brain a chance to reset. And if you stick with me, I'll show you how these small moments can unlock some serious mental clarity. Before diving into deliberate boredom, it helps to have a pre-boredom ritual. It's like warming up your brain for stillness. This could be something as simple as putting your phone in another room, closing your laptop, or taking a few deep breaths. The goal is to prepare your mind so it's ready to experience quiet without panicking. That brief preparation primes your nervous system to benefit from the downtime, instead of reflexively reaching for stimulation the second the pause begins. Many famous innovators actually built this into their routines. Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla, and even modern creatives would intentionally seek monotonous or repetitive environments to let ideas surface. It wasn't about laziness. It was about giving their minds the space to notice connections they couldn't see in constant motion. And here's the interesting part. You don't need to be a genius to use this technique. Your brain works the same way, no matter who you are. Intentional disengagement isn't about escaping life or being unproductive. It's a mental hack, a way to let your nervous system catch up and your brain breathe. By regularly building these micro breaks into your day, you start noticing patterns, ideas, and solutions that were invisible in the constant noise. And over time, those quiet moments become a source of power instead of discomfort. The beauty of this approach is that it's flexible. You can integrate it into a busy schedule without guilt, and you don't have to block out huge chunks of your day. Even a short walk, a few minutes of staring out the window, or deliberately leaving your phone aside while cooking can act as a reset. Stick with me because in the next part we'll explore what actually happens inside your brain during these moments, and why breakthroughs often happen when you least expect them. Here's the fascinating part. Once your brain settles into those moments of quiet, it starts connecting dots you didn't even know were there. You might be sitting on a park bench, staring out a window, or just letting your thoughts wander, and suddenly ideas that seemed unrelated before start forming patterns. It's a subtle, almost imperceptible thing at first, but that's how creative breakthroughs quietly take shape. And this process isn't random. It's exactly what your mind was built to do when it's given space. Real-world examples make this clear. Think of famous inventions and discoveries. A lot of them didn't happen at a desk under pressure. They came during downtime, daydreaming, or routine tasks. The mathematician Henry Poincaré described ideas popping into his head at unexpected moments, often when he was resting or walking. Your mind uses these quiet stretches to process, connect, and synthesize information in ways that constant engagement simply doesn't allow. But here's the catch. There's a difference between genuine insight and simply recycling old ideas. True creative unfold requires a calm, attentive brain, not a stressed, reactive one. If you're still bouncing from one notification to another, your mind is too busy chasing stimuli to notice novel connections. That's why intentional disengagement, like we talked about earlier, is so critical. It's the environment that allows real innovation to emerge. Once your mind starts to notice these connections, the feeling is almost addictive in a quiet way. You see patterns in everyday life, spot solutions you hadn't considered, and start anticipating ideas before they fully form. And the more consistently you create space for these moments, the more natural this process becomes. Your brain begins expecting and craving periods of low stimulation creativity. Ultimately, this is why downtime isn't just empty time, it's fertile ground. It's where ideas grow, patterns emerge, and innovation quietly happens. And the best part? You don't need a special schedule or retreat to make it work. Small, deliberate pockets of boredom and disengagement sprinkled throughout your day are enough to start unlocking this creative potential. Stick around because in the next part we'll look at how to make those moments a permanent, guilt-free part of your life. The good news is you don't need to carve out hours or disappear from the world to reap the benefits of boredom. Even short, intentional boredom breaks sprinkled throughout your day can make a huge difference. Sitting quietly with a cup of tea, letting your mind wander on a walk, or even just noticing your surroundings without reaching for your phone. These small moments add up. Over time, your nervous system learns that stillness is not a threat, it's restorative. Integrating these moments into a busy schedule doesn't have to feel guilty. Think of them as mental maintenance, like charging your phone or oiling a bike chain. The better you take care of your mind, the more energy, clarity, and focus you'll have when it really matters. And once you notice the difference, these micro breaks stop feeling like a luxury, they become essential. A boredom-rich life doesn't just improve focus or creativity, it nurtures long-term mental well-being. Those quiet moments help regulate your stress, reduce digital burnout, and give your brain the breathing room it needs to process, reflect, and recharge. And when your nervous system has that space, decision-making, problem-solving, and genuine enjoyment of life all get easier. This isn't about completely rejecting technology or productivity. It's about designing a life where you control your attention instead of being pulled in every direction by screens and alerts. Deliberately choosing pockets of stillness allows your mind to do what it was naturally built to do: notice, connect, and create. And that shift quietly transforms how you approach your work, your hobbies, and even your relationships. So here's the takeaway. Embracing boredom isn't a punishment, it's a superpower. Those moments of quiet, stillness, and disengagement let your ideas unfold, your attention settle, and your creativity flourish. Start small, stay consistent, and notice how even tiny pockets of calm ripple throughout your day. Because reclaiming space in your mind isn't just about thinking better, it's about living better. Thanks for watching. If any of this resonated, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a like and drop a comment and let me know what popped in your mind or what you're working on. And if you want more content like this, practical psychology-based insights to help you reclaim focus, reduce stress, and understand your brain, hit subscribe and stick around. I'll see you in the next video.